This inner light and sound energy for meditation is about discovering the real spiritual home within us, far beyond the borders of the physical body and intellect. It is about letting ourselves be shown the beautiful truth that we are complete and free in ways beyond imagining. This is home that we begin to find by learning to meditate, relaxing and simply being, so we can be taken by the light and sound into that part of us which has always been and continues to be timelessly, peacefully present. In this way, during meditation, we gradually become deeply rooted in love and light and fully immersed in what is a truth so groundbreaking. Everything we identified with as our place in life until then is positively changed. This is home that defies all logic and reasoning and will provoke either the love of light and all things or the confusion of disbelief. But for those of us genuinely searching for truth, the light and sound will illuminate our pathway home if we let it, and encourage us to be open to the guidance from the inner teachers of light who help reveal what is through this mystery of love. I'm told what follows was written 20 years ago by a woman called Fiona. No last name was given. She was said to have realized enlightenment through light and sound meditation and recognized this as both complete fulfillment and an extraordinary beginning. Meditation allows us to have access to a faster dimension, that of the light and sound. This new dimension is not only faster than the one we knew before, it is also massive and gets bigger as we progress. Of course, it isn't really getting bigger, it just appears that way, as the limits of creation are transcended and we have access to greater and greater levels of consciousness until they are all transcended. This progressive expansion and transcendence brings about a process of inquiry, a wonderful opportunity to be consumed by the light and sound, and so become the knowledge that it holds. The light and sound we all witness is the same, untainted by our apparent individuality. As we become consumed by increasingly faster dimensions, rather than simply observing or being overwhelmed by them, that process of inquiry becomes a massive expansion of consciousness. It also has the added benefit of making the personal self more stable. This is because a greater and greater part of us, by proportion, is rooted in the deeper levels of consciousness, unaffected by the turmoil of the mind, emotions, or physicality. This, in effect, causes our sense of identity, of who and what we are, to be rooted within the environment of the light and sound, rather than that of the many small environments that make up the sensory world. The intention here is not to become unemotional, but to be able to experience the whole range of human emotions without being consumed by them. The emotions exist within a very small space compared to the levels of light and sound. If we can remain rooted in the light and sound, we will not be overwhelmed by our emotions or thoughts, and we will more readily put them aside when we sit to meditate. So how do we explore our state of consciousness? Primarily, this is done via realizations as we traverse the light and sound. Outside of meditation, as we bounce from the edge of our state back to the minutiae of our lower self, we can consolidate what is happening in meditation. During our everyday life, realizations will often be sparked as our true self influences our personal self, allowing us to perceive things. Wherever you are right now, stop and look around you. You will see colour, shape, movement, angles, and dimensions. You will use comparison and separation, concentration and imagination to piece together what you see. But you may also be aware, consciously or unconsciously, of the subliminal meaning of the environment you are in and your relationship to it. If we are intuitive in this situation, realizations will materialize like pennies falling into the ether. Making the space for this to happen is one very important way to explore your state of consciousness. Realizations occur because as we sit within light and sound, we aren't just observing and exploring. Our vehicles are being reordered and refined, and this is an amazing process. Over time, our relationship with the light and sound will change, and this in turn affects our relationship with the world at large. This process is actually ongoing, from the moment we start to meditate on the breath, continuing well after enlightenment. As our relationship with the light and sound changes, so will we change mentally, emotionally, and physically. Our awareness changes from looking at the light and hearing the sound to becoming the light and sound. Our center has relocated. The more we become consumed by the light and sound, the greater our center will be, the greater our realizations, and the greater our personal well-being as the fullness of this faster dimension plays out through our personal self, the mind, the emotions, and the physical body. This journey may have a goal in enlightenment, but the journey itself is full of surprises and delights. Along the way, we are gradually released from one realm of consciousness into another, like Russian dolls being freed from the confines of each other. Love is the essential energy that maintains our individuality. Love is the energy that unpacks us from the confines of that individuality until finally we become the love we have caught a glimpse of along the way. Much love to you, and thank you for listening.